Hey guys, and welcome! Today, Season 6 of Battlefield 2042 has started, and besides a new map, new weapons and new gadgets, we also got a huge update with many changes and improvements. So in this video I want to show you the most important things you need to know, what they changed and how they might affect your gameplay. I'm trying to cut it short on each topic, but it's quite a lot, so it might take longer than usual. First of all, we got several improvements for vehicle handling and maneuverability. All ground vehicles have an improved sense of gravity now that makes them feel heavier and less floaty, and also affects their behavior while in the air. You won't fly as far anymore and the vehicle will turn towards its heavier point. Suspensions and wheel traction have also been tweaked to support this extra gravity and make it look and feel more natural. Heavy tanks are also less likely to flip from vehicle collisions now, and their track friction was lowered to improve maneuverability. The turning rates when accelerating and when standing still have been increased to make the tanks more agile during combat, and that's definitely noticeable. Plus, the acceleration and deceleration was improved as well, so you will start to move faster now and also come to a halt faster. But to balance this out, you will need more time to reach the maximum speed of the vehicle. However, this can still be bypassed by using the vehicle's boost. Then there were some changes made to the EMKV-90 Tor and both of its primary weapons, and here the minimum damage was lowered, and the EMG Maul will no longer be able to one-shot light air vehicles like the Jets, Nightbird and Stealth Helis beyond 330 meters, and the attack helis beyond 280 meters. The Jets got an afterburner meter, so pilots are able to manage how and when to use afterburners to their advantage. And one last change for all vehicles: when you've been designated by either the SOFLAM or Tracer Dart, there will now be an information in the HUD such as incoming, locked, locking or designated, so you know that your vehicle was made vulnerable. And talking about vulnerable, we finally got a warning when trying to deploy on a vehicle that is low on health. I couldn't believe my eyes when I saw this today, but it is finally here. I assume it appears when a vehicle is below 25% health, and it will only warn you but not prevent you from spawning, so similar to former titles. Then there are some changes to classes and specialists. In Update 6.0, the hacking mechanic of Rao's cyber warfare suit was changed and will now no longer block the weapon systems of vehicles. Instead, hacking will trigger damage states, which means wheels, tracks, turret or engine will be disabled, and the vehicle will be harder to maneuver or can't move at all. Additionally, Rao no longer reveals players around an enemy he has recently hacked and killed. Instead, he will now reveal all enemies, vehicles and gear around a hacked target within a distance of 10 meters. Similar to Rao's hacking, the behavior of the EMP grenades and Casper's drone were adjusted and will not disable weapon systems anymore and instead trigger damage states. And for the Recon drone, this also means that the cooldown of the EMP blast was increased by 5 seconds to match this new behavior. It also looks like the bug is back where you can't see the cooldown of the blast at all. Pike got a little buff to her scanner, because the visibility of targets was improved and the timings of the scanner altered, which means the stay time is a little bit longer because of a faster start and a snappier fade out. But the total time you use the scanner is still the same, so only the time where targets are revealed for you has been slightly increased. There was also a yellow rectangle added that briefly marks all enemies you spot within a certain distance, but this also appears for manual spotting and when using other specialists, not only for Pike. And all enemies more than 50 meters away from you will now have the distance above their heads again when spotted, which was indeed a bug and not a feature. Additionally, the Recon class now has a second weapon proficiency alongside their sniper rifle proficiency, and this new one applies to all sidearms and lets them deploy and undeploy the second weapon faster, no matter what kind of primary weapon is equipped. So in combination with a sniper rifle, you can give the enemy a hit and then quickly switch to your sidearm and kill them, but it also works with SMGs or assault rifles. However, to me it feels like only the undeploy is faster but not the deploy, so I'm not sure if the proficiency really works as intended. Besides this, the Engineer class got a few changes as well, and here the range of Boris' trait was increased and activates at 3.2 meters now instead of 1.6. And when Boris is inside the circle, the sentry turret has an even higher fire rate that was increased by 25%. So the circle around the turret got bigger and the weapon is more effective, which was made to encourage players to stay closer to the sentry turret and defend choke points. Crawford, on the other hand, got a completely new trait with the update, and this one is called Deep Pockets. It replaces the former Fast Repair trait and provides an extra rocket to all shoulder-fired launchers. So with the M5, for example, you will have 4 rockets at spawn, and with the RPG 3 rockets. If you like to play these launchers, Crawford is your go-to specialist now. Other changes that were made to specialists are that Dozer will now take damage from explosives and flinch when taking direct hits towards his shield, and his whole movement with the shield was made slower, which applies to rotating, strafing, walking backwards and sprinting. He will not take damage from normal weapons though, even with armor-piercing bullets. For McKay, the maximum range of his grappling hook was reduced by 17%, but no worries, you can still get on the ship unstranded, even though it's a little bit more difficult now. However, right now it seems like there is a weird black screen glitch when using the grappling hook, but hopefully this gets fixed soon. In addition, Zane's airburst launcher only has 1 magazine now instead of 2, and the time it takes to replenish a magazine was increased. But as a little balance, the recharge behavior was changed and now starts to fill missing rounds all the time and not only when the magazine is empty. Then we have some interesting changes and fixes to weapons and gunplay, and the first one is a much needed fix to camera recoil. Because before the update there was an issue where the crosshair of several weapons moved too much out of the center of the screen, especially when it came to quick bursts and on higher recoil weapons. But this was fixed now and all weapons should stick closer to the center of the screen again, but of course they will still have some minor movement to transmit the feeling of recoil. But recoil control and burst firing should feel more responsive and consistent now. In addition, LMGs got some more tweaks following the massive dispersion changes made with update 5.2, and here the initial dispersion penalty when moving, while standing, crouching and prone was reduced again, and the dispersion increase when firing in full auto was lowered. The time it takes for recoil to fully reset, on the other hand, was slightly increased to make LMGs more accurate and reliable on distance, but lower their close quarters agility. The marksman rifles got a small balance update as well, but not as big as the one of the LMGs. Here the dispersion when firing at maximum fire rate was slightly increased for the M39, SVK and SVD, and for the VCAR it was slightly reduced. And the BSBM has a higher horizontal and initial vertical recoil now, but it's still one of the best weapons in the game. Additionally, there were changes made to suppressors and how they work in combination with subsonic ammunition, because before the hitmarker update, the combination of subsonic and heavy suppressor would hide the directional indicator in the single hitmarker for the receiving player. But this feature was removed with the introduction of the multiple hitmarkers we have now, and the combination of subsonic and heavy suppressor wasn't as useful anymore as before. Now DICE reacted to it and changed how suppressors work, as well as the combination of subsonic and suppressors. So previously heavy suppressors hit you completely from the minimap when shooting, no matter the distance, and light suppressors only revealed your position to all enemies within 20 meters around you. Now, after update 6.0, light suppressors will hide you from the minimap for all enemies more than 40 meters away, and only in combination with subsonics you will be hidden from all enemies more than 20 meters away. Or you use a heavy suppressor, because this one will also hide you from all enemies more than 20 meters away. So the heavy suppressor by itself now works in the same way the light suppressor did before the update, only that the heavy suppressor also affects your damage output and range a lot. To be completely hidden from the minimap, on the other hand, you need to use a heavy suppressor plus subsonics now, which is probably a combination a lot of people used before already. So if you did this, the change doesn't affect your weapon setups at all. If you preferred to use the light suppressors before the update and you want to have the same effect now, I would recommend to go with the wrapped plus subsonic, because this combination will only lower your projectile velocity, but not your damage output or damage drop off on range. The heavy suppressor, on the other hand, does. In addition to all of this, the scope glint cannot be disabled anymore by interacting with your weapons on the barrel attachment, so this bug was fixed. The headshot multiplier of the 12mm auto and MCS 880 was removed to be in line with the other shotguns, and the dispersion of the P90 was increased, making it a little less accurate on range. To further reduce explosive spam on the battlefield, there were also some changes made to grenades, launchers and C5. So the blast radius of the frag grenade, Sundance's scatter grenade and C5 was reduced, the magazine capacity of the SPH explosive launcher was reduced to 1 and the maximum amount of shells from 4 to 2, so you can only fire 2 shots now before running out of ammo, and the only thing that was increased is the blast radius of the explosive bolt of the Ghostmaker crossbow from 2 meters to 3 meters. And a full fix was made to the issue where smoke grenades allowed explosive damage through walls, because after the last fix it was still possible to deal damage when throwing 2 smoke grenades at the same spot, but this is fixed as well now. And at the end, we also got some great quality of life changes for controller players, because to make controller aim more accurate and give you more options for stick customization, you can now select between 8 different response curves from previous Battlefield titles in the options, each with its own unique behavior. Available are Standard, 2042, Battlefield 5, 1 and 4, Battlefield 3, Bad Company 2 and 1, and a completely linear curve. These can be found at Options, Controller and then on Foot, and will alter the feel of your aim stick input. If you have Uniform Soldier aiming disabled, you can also select a Zoom aim input curve and several legacy presets for stick acceleration. In addition, you can now also find a slider for tuning aim assist slowdown separately from other aim assist features. And that was it for today. A lot of changes this time, but now you have the full overview of them. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to drop a like or a comment below and subscribe to the channel for more content like this. Until then, thanks for watching and thanks to my members for the additional support. I'm the Catwoman and you are awesome.